I think we got the video now. New camera gear for the shop. Basically, we restore motorcycles and lawnmowers and other stuff, and I wanted to test out the new camera gear tonight. Part of it is we're fixing a Virago 1100, and this is basically the EGR for it. And I believe this valve is stuck, I hope. Or something crawled in there and made a nest. I'm not real sure. It's pretty grimy. So we're gonna clean it first, just a little bit. Yeah, we have restored probably close to 15 bikes now. And I really enjoy it. I write software for a living during the day. And nothing beats the satisfaction of putting your hands on something and watching it, stir to life like an engine or, a project you've worked on for a long time. I've worked on 5 or 6, 7, oh gosh, almost 10 RVs now in the last 5 years. And I enjoyed that quite a bit. There's just nowhere to store them while you're working on them, at least cost effective wise. And that was kind of a pain. So now me and my partner have started working on motorcycles, and we'll see some footage of that shortly. But right now, I would like to get all the crap, the gunk, the 16,000 miles of road debris off of these vacuum lines, just so it's easier to work with. And then when you put it back on the bike, they look nice. I don't think the vacuum line themselves are stopped up, but it's a possibility. I think somewhere in here I have a vacuum test kit, but this one's pretty low vacuum, so I might just do something awful and apply some suction to it. That's also part of the reason for cleaning it, if you think about it. Yeah, a lot of the stuff, if you don't take care of your vehicles, they just get gross and grimy. And a friend of mine runs a garage down the street, and the amount of vehicles that come in that are just caked on with debris and dirt, and the people who own them don't understand why the vehicle is failing, or why something doesn't work right, or why they go through parts all the time. And if you buy a new vehicle, it's not that bad. If you can afford a dealer, that's fine too. But a lot of people, they're struggling. So part of sort of my philosophy in all of this was, if I got really good at fixing things, and so far I've been pretty good at fixing things, been doing it all my life. But my thought was, if I got really good at it, then maybe I could turn that into something where I generate some income. Don't know. We'll have to see one day when I grow up. I mean, more. So let's see what we got here. What direction, if it shows us, is that line supposed to go? Different versions, of course. We'll loop around. And it didn't say. That's great. Okay, so that is going the right way. But there's a little restrictor for the vacuum in that line. And I believe there's a possibility that restrictor, I'm hoping, is stopped up. That didn't sound real good. Gunk gets inside of, engines, EGR, all that kind of stuff. And it just causes a lot of trouble. And the manufacturers like it because they hope that you will go to a dealer and get, your parts serviced. Oh, look at that. I don't think that's exactly the issue, but sure didn't go through there, did it? We sometimes use tools unconventionally, and look at that, full of crap. So comments can get mad at me, but we probably won't care. But if you have good advice, we'll take it all day long. I've been trying to sort of put together this whole channel idea of our rides that we do on the motorcycles all over the country, and the repairs we do, and some of the hijinks we get into, and just help people out sometimes. And nonetheless, I'm here in the winter working in the garage, which is the most ridiculous tiny garage that probably anyone has ever seen. You'll see a picture of it one day. Get some of that gunk out of there. Pretty sure that that particular cleaner also eats the print off these mats. I already lost one mat from it, so don't want to lose another. Let's see here if I can get it. There we go. Basically, when they have a restrictor, it kind of works like a damper. All right, those are good to go. Makes me wonder if that valve is okay. This has a little arrow on it. Not sure you can see that. We'll see when we see the test footage. But that little arrow goes on in the direction of that valve, because I believe it works like a damper. Some of the very old engines I've worked on had a lot of those in the vacuum line systems. A lot of the controls weren't computer controlled or electronic controlled. They were vacuum controlled. And whoever put those together, those guys were pretty much a genius. See, look, that's even got a little restrictor look in it too. However, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to get lucky with this. Basically, the bike on deceleration is popping and snapping and causing all sorts of chaos. And we've gone through all the common stuff short of rebuilding the carburetor. We're kind of hoping we don't have to do that, but the parts are going to be here in a couple of days. So not a big deal. Nothing is going in that hole. I know it can't be that restrictive. These are little carburetor clean out tools. They come in all sorts of different sizes. I like to find the smallest one here. A little more bendy, but it should be able to get past whatever's in there. Because I can't open this valve up very easily, can I? It's a little deeper, but see here, I can open that and I can take that off. It's a little filter in there. It's a really strange arrangement. Basically, it looks like it brings in extra fresh air to the exhaust so that it can reburn with a little bit extra oxygen, I guess. And when you're decelerating, it's supposed to close the valve here and not let air back into the engine. And I'm betting it's not doing that. So, all right, let's get a screwdriver here. I'll put that on properly instead of trying to mash it all in there. I'm the adventure nerd, and it's pleased to meet all of you. Of course, the obligatory, if you like any of these videos, please subscribe, share, comment, whatever. We're trying to build something out of this, and I'm an idiot, but I'm an idiot with tools, so I guess that makes me a little more dangerous, right? I think. Yeah, so everything looks like it's in its place. Not really sure what's going on in there other than some sort of baffle. They really didn't want that moving around. And I can't quite see down in there, but it looks like a baffle. I don't know if I have the vacuum lines in here for this, so that makes it no fun. That may be another video when we do that. Let's see if I can just cheat a line on there real quick. Wipe all that up. Ugh. Sorry about your ears. Go figure. So earlier today I had gasoline in my mouth, and I was siphoning into a tank to get rid of some old gas into our used gas tank, and got a mouthful of it. I've been burping gas all day. It made me wonder if I could light a burp. I thought that'd be pretty fantastic. Well, that can close, so that makes me consider that the problem I have is on the bike backfiring is either a vacuum leak or something worse than the carb, and I'm hoping that's it. I'm gonna pull the plugs tonight anyway, just to double check, because I might get lucky on that as well. But this piece seems to be functioning like it should. Now, how many pounds it's supposed to pull and all that, I have no idea. But that gets tucked in there. Let's see here. See, these are one-way valves. Very interesting. Still kind of wonder, you know, the engineers that thought all this stuff up years ago. Makes me wonder if we have, you know, people with that kind of smarts. I'm not saying there's not smart people, but I bet you there's not people that could use vacuum lines and restrictors to come up with a computer-like action of how the car regulates itself, its fuel, based on speed, based on other things, without using a single electronic. It was just an amazing rebuild that I did. It was for an RV. I thought it was pretty slick. But yeah, this little sort of EGR device is kind of unfortunately just fine. And it's a little strange. There's two tubes that come in here, and as you can tell, they go nowhere. Two tubes back to the engine. And there's a tube that kind of comes in, just sits right in this little hole right here where my finger is, if you can tell. And it just sits there. So this sucks air through here, and any of those gases that come out get sucked back into the engine, unless there's a vacuum there. So maybe I don't have a vacuum going on, or I have a vacuum leak. Still gonna pull the plugs to see how bad they're fouled, or if they're fouled, and test them out. But that'll be our next video. And here's the Virago 1100. This is where that EGR valve went. You can see the hoses that kind of come in. These aren't one-way valves. These are just little screens, I guess, to stop debris from getting in the engine and whatnot, or coming out of the engine. Could be a fire arrestor, I'm not real sure. These are our vacuum lines here. And this is the one that goes feeding that hole. These go in the hole, and then these are the ones that go back to the engine. They're a little cracked, but they're not super damaged. They should work just fine. Needs a new clamp. But it's just really interesting that they wouldn't do what they were supposed to do. So, because it seems to act like it's got a vacuum issue. And I had this side all cleaned up, and lo and behold, I have to take it all back apart again, which means it got pretty filthy. If you guys know how to clean the spots off chrome, I would love to know. That'd be pretty excellent. But I thought, since it's running rough, it seems to be acting like it's running a little bit rich, which starts to lead me towards this double carburetor it's got. Not a big fan of pulling that out. I can tell you that now. You think I would have had the right tool ready to go, but now, of course, not. Of course, that's just, you know, the bane of doing stuff on camera. Last night I was in here working on the engine, cleaning stuff up, testing some ideas, and every socket I picked was the right size at the right time. I don't think it's going to be that way tonight. See, those don't look bad at all. A little bit of carbon buildup. Nothing super bad. And these have resistors in them. Are these in GKs? With resistors. Ha! That's fairly interesting. I wonder if somebody put the wrong plugs in. Some of these old bikes you can't do that way. You can't double resistor them. You either buy the wire with the resistor and the plugs didn't have it, or you buy the plugs with the resistor and either you swap this out for a new piece. Yep, that is a little resistor. Interesting. So that's probably part of our issue on this one for sure. Very clean, but that's a problem. I don't think I have any plugs here that I can swap out. NGK are good plugs for this, but unfortunately for us, you can't have double resistance. It minimizes the amount of spark, and then, you know, your bike runs like crap, or your car, or anything like that. Most cables nowadays don't have a resistor because the spark plugs, the technology behind spark plugs got a little better. So I'm not real sure. I don't think those pop off and I can put new units on them. Huh. Let's see if I've got another plug over here. Just happens to be the right size. Probably not, but we have a lot of motorcycle parts. We had our Virago 250 in here a week ago, and this might be one of the plugs from it. I'm not real sure. But this one, I don't believe, has resistor. We'll see if this cylinder fires up and if the bike runs a little better. Need to find a plug for vacuum line, possibly. Alright, that's back together and on there. Okay, this is going to be a loud noise, so I do apologize about that. We are in a closed space, so I won't run it very long. Are we choked? Let's do a half choke. Sounds really good. Let me do that. Sorry about that. That was super loud. Makes me think the carbs aren't synced. I don't think it's a timing issue. It definitely ran better, which is really interesting. Had wondered for a while if something had crawled in there and, you know, gotten in the, built a little nest in there in the intake or something. You see that all the time in like gold wings. Go fix this little ring real quick. I know this is probably not the best video you've ever seen, but if you're still with me, I appreciate it. We're gonna go somewhere. I pretty much decided that a long time ago. I'm fairly tenacious. I don't really slow down either. It's kind of a thing. It's interesting that they had resistor driven spark plugs and the resistor driven secondary. That's just really weird. I like the book I have on this bike. It even tells you what direction to put all of the fittings. Outward, inward, towards the engine, towards the front, so you don't clip your leg on something. Possibly a safety factor, but just really neat to see. I don't think I can pull those off. That looks pretty clean. Says there's supposed to be an adjustment. I honestly believe these don't have covers on them, so I find that pretty cool. I'll have a 90-degree Phillips here later this week, so I can try to adjust fuel air mix if I need to. But somewhere buried in this car, down in this hole somewhere down that way, is the one screw that synchronizes both carbs. Just tilts kind of like the flaps forward and backward a little bit based on which one you're pulling. That is, if this is the right one. It's kind of an interesting situation. So many moving parts. You never know in the history of a bike if someone's replaced a few pieces. Just never know. I almost feel like that's the, looks like the synchronizer screw to me, but it doesn't synchronize back to over here, and there's no screw right up in the middle here, unless somebody's already uncovered it. So we'd have to pull the carbs to really look a little bit easier. That or crawl on the ground. Nobody wants to do that. Let's temporarily put our piece back on, give herself a little better vacuum control. Let's see if perhaps it does anything different. It's working on a 2-stroke and it had a bad exhaust and wasn't clamped down all the way, and turned out that was not allowing it to have back pressure, and the back pressure to push against the air in the chamber as it came out, and it wouldn't stay running. But you go in and give it that back pressure and it ran great. It's really amazing. All right, loud noise. Moving on. All right. That's the no-joke. Idling a little low. Doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound bad. maybe that was it. Well, I'll take that all day long. We'll get the spark plugs swapped out for the right ones tomorrow, and swap out a couple of little things and put this back together. Maybe we'll take it for a test ride, and maybe you guys can come with us. It'll be the first time we've mounted a camera to this bike, and we'll see. Kind of depends on the weather. We live in New England, and sometimes it's not fun to ride in the cold. But I kind of want to test this one out. Gotta knock the rust off the inside of this. We get them pretty cleaned up, but you know, sometimes they're fake covers, so you don't know they're not a vent or an intake. Turns out it's just a hidey hole for all this stuff. So we'll get all that fixed up and put together. I'm really amazed that just swapping out a spark plug kind of stopped all the backfire. I mean, we did clean that one thing out, but I don't think that would have done it. Huh. Pretty cool. Well, thanks for watching.